Let's talk about row versioning. When using a table and a report, it's possible to have each row look different. As you can see, we have a report set up, and if we click on the Design tab, it's already making use of a table. Let's go ahead and double click on the Details row. When you do, you see the row version to the right-hand side of the row. Currently, Standard, which is the default row version, is selected. If we click on Standard, you'll see that we have some options to create a new row version, as well as remove existing ones. I'm going to go down to Add Alternate. And you can see on the row, Alternate is currently selected. The way Alternate works is that the table will alternate between the standard row version and the alternate row version. To give you an example of this, we'll go ahead and apply a color to the entire row. I'm going to come up to my project browser and I'm going to select the downtime minutes details, or the details role, because again, I want this to be applied to the whole row. I'm going to come down to the property inspector, I'm going to scroll down, and under stroke and fill, there's a fill property. I'm going to set that to true. And then under fill color, I'm going to go ahead and pick a color. Let's do a nice green color. There we go. Now, if we go and take a look at the preview tab, you can see that our alternate row version is already working. The table starts with standard, goes to the alternate, back to standard, etc., etc. Now let's try something a little more complicated. Let's say we want the row version used for each row to be dependent on a value in that row. Specifically, if our weekly downtime for a line is greater than 40 minutes, let's go ahead and use a different row version. So I'm going to come back to Design, and I'm going to double click on the Details row. Now it's possible to have multiple row versions all configured and working together, but to keep this simple, I'm going to go ahead and remove our alternate row version. So I'm going to click on where it says Standard on the right hand side. I'm going to select the alternate, so you can see it's visible and it's clearly selected now. And I'm going to click here again and click on Remove. Now alternate is gone. So let's come down to Custom. And let's give this one, we'll call this one high. The minutes are higher than 40. Click OK. You can see that high is currently selected for the row. Now, just like last time, I'm going to come up to the project browser, I'm going to click on my details row, and in the property inspector, I'm going to scroll down to stroke and fill. I'm going to set fill to true. I'm going to pick a color. Let's do red this time. There we go. Now, the next part is the interesting part. I'm going to go ahead and pop out the property inspector just so you can get a better view of what I'm doing here. Now, there's this property called version key. The version key property is what's going to allow us to conditionally select which row version to use. So, for example, I'm going to double click here, and we want to look at our downtime minutes. And if they're greater than 40, we want to use the high row versioning, or our new one we just created. Otherwise, let's use the standard one. I'm going to hit enter to go ahead and commit that. I'm going to put this the property inspector back in. There we go. Now if we come to the preview tab, we see it worked. So all of our lines with a weekly downtime less than 40 are using the standard row versioning, and everything greater, or with all of our lines with a weekly downtime greater than 40 are using the high row versioning.